Hey guys, my name is Donnie and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video I'm gonna be doing something completely different, and that is I want to show you guys how the McLaren is doing, because I've had so many requests of people asking me to do a follow-up on the video on the McLaren, and I decided that it's about 4 years now since I finished the car, and I really want to show you guys what it looks like and how it is doing, and things that I would like to change on it, and what went wrong with it in the meantime, and upgrades that I'm planning on doing on the car. So this is what it looks like at the moment. Here it is, nice in storage. But before I show you that, I want to show you guys some of the other cars that I'm extremely proud of. And this is a BMW Isetta 300 that I built. It was one of the first videos that I put on YouTube. It was only a photo time lapse, but this is a little car that I'm very proud of. Guys, it came to me and it was nothing more than a chicken coop, and we restored it. This is really one of the prettier little bugs that you'll get out there. I decided back then that I would give this car a little bit of an unconventional paint job, so I gave it a very nice deep red color, and it is so beautiful and such a happy little car. And this is one of the first restorations that I put on YouTube. So you enter the car from the front like so, the steering wheel goes up like that, and you can get into the car and you can just sit over there. You've got a 4-speed gearbox with a reverse, and this little car also came with a sunroof. And guys, there's a little interesting little story about the sunroof, is that it was actually a safety feature rather than anything else, because if you were in a front smash with this little car, you had to be able to escape, and that is why it was mandatory that these cars came out with a sunroof. So guys, that's this little car. Like I said, a beautiful little car. And then another one of these micro cars is this little Messerschmitt that it was one of my more recent videos that I built. Also came to me as a chicken coop, and we had to fabricate a lot of things, like for instance these fenders and so on. And well, you guys can just go and watch the video. And restoring or building this car was very inexpensive at the end of the day, but the results are just so absolutely fantastic. My father especially loves driving this car when you're going to motor shows and car shows and so on, and it really draws so much attention. People love it, people love taking pictures, and it actually goes very fast. We can easily do about 60 kilometers an hour with this little car, and it is just a beautiful little car. And then one of my earlier fabrications is this replica of a Bugatti T59, and this was one of the first cars ever that I built out of aluminium. So everything was fabricated out of aluminium, and I had to teach myself how to do aluminium work and forming and shaping on the English wheel and so on, and also how to punch in these louvers and build this car from scratch. And there's a couple of things that I'm very proud of about this car, and that is, for instance, that the front axle, I had to fabricate that, and it is, even though it is a single piece round axle, it is hollow in the middle, the same as what the original cars was built like. And I had to make things like the steering box and everything from scratch, because when this car came to us, it only had a chassis and it had this front radiator and the wheels, and that was basically it, and an engine. And guys, as far as this car is concerned, it does not have the 8-cylinder motor that it came out with, the Bugattis. It has got a Jaguar engine in it, which is very dirty at the moment. 6-cylinder engine. It puts out just about the same amount of horsepower as the original car. And one of the things that I would really love to do one day is to fabricate or make an engine from scratch that fits in this car, that's also an 8-cylinder. And I was thinking doing something like putting 2 VW Golf engines together and making a straight 8 engine, so that it would look and sound and feel like the original car. Some of the other things that I would also love to change on it eventually, it's got disc brakes in the front, and I'd like to swap out those disc brakes with cable operated drum brakes, the same way that they came out with the original car. But for me to do that, I'll have to refabricate the wheels and everything, because in the original car those drums were integrated with the wheels, so I'm going to have to change that. But that's something for another day. And that takes us to that little car over there, or big car. Actually, this is a 1936 Chevy 4-door. And guys, this was also a very awesome project, because we basically just got this shell and it just shouted out that it wanted to become a rat rod. And then we decided on putting that 350 Chevy V8 in there, and I rebuilt the engine and I made sure that it was nice and reliable, and then we built the car around that. Another thing that I'm proud of about this car is that because I had free reins to do whatever I wanted, I then decided on making my own suspension, and I put the airbags, because this thing rides on airbags. I put the airbags here at the back, and it's got a lever that goes to the front which pushes these wheels up, so that the airbag does not have to sit here in the front as they usually do. So it's got the airbag suspension, my own design suspension, and it's got airbags at the back as well. And I designed everything myself. Like for instance, these headers also, I made it look so that it would look like a set of tentacles that comes out here into the exhaust. And when we first started, it sounded like gunshots going off. So I then decided on fabricating my own muffler that I put in there to just quiet it down a little bit, and that worked very well. Another thing that I also did on this car is that I deleted this B pillar. So that's the A pillar, B pillar, C pillar, and I deleted it by cutting it off the top. Just open this up here and mounting that B pillar to this back door, and that makes so that you can now have a very nice entrance. And I think that is also a very unique feature to a rod that I haven't seen done before. Another thing that I also had to do, this was one of the first cars that I had to do or learn how to do my own upholstery, because I had an idea of how I wanted this upholstery to look, and there was just no one that was willing to help me realize my dream. So this was one of the first jobs that I ever did my own upholstery on, and I'm very proud of that. Oh, and it also did feature in a magazine, which I'm very proud of. And then here on the top we had a problem covering the roof, because I want this car to look nice, or to be nice and quiet whilst driving, and I didn't know what to do with the top, with the roof. And obviously with my lack of experience in upholstery, I had to go with another route, and I put this fur in the roof, and it really came out looking so pretty, and it deadens the sound in the car, and it just adds to the vibe of this hot rod. And then this one, the last one before we get to the McLaren, is my COVID car. This one I built in the dead of COVID, so I had to make do with whatever I had laying around in my workshop. This one basically was built on very low provisions, but it just came out looking so good. This is also one of my first full-length series restorations that I did. So I did a restoration from the bottom up, and it just came out looking so pretty. I'm so proud of it, and it smells delicious on the inside like leather. And this little car is also running so beautifully at the moment. Anyways guys, that brings me back to this beautiful car. This is our McLaren F1 LM replica that I built a couple of years back. And guys, I am still extremely proud of this car. It just looks so damn beautiful. I am so happy and so glad that I had the opportunity to build this car, because it is a lifetime dream come true for me. If you guys have seen the other videos or the older videos, it took me many years to realize this dream, and here in front of me is this car. I think this could be considered as my life's work standing in front of me. Like I said guys, this is a replica of the McLaren F1 LM. And just to clarify, because I've had hundreds of requests about this car, and I've had hundreds of people suggesting things on the car and mistakes that I might have made and so on, pointing them out, which is all nice and good. But I want to point out that this is a replica of the LM and not the road going car, and there is a big difference. First of all is that the LM cars did have these fender flares on the sides. It did have those air holes or those vents on top of the fenders, and the bumper and the boot and everything looked very different. Also the inside was stripped out. That is why I love this car so much, because it's just raw carbon fiber, and very, very lightweight. So guys, I know that these fender flares are a bit wider than the original car, and the reason why I did that was because I started this build with these wheels in mind, and I had to flare these front flares further than the original car. But I like to think of it as a bit of a livery that I did in making this car even meaner than it was originally. Apart from that, guys, what I'm very, very happy about is after all of these years, the paint work on this car still is immaculate, absolutely amazing. And that is something that I'm very, very happy about, because you don't want to build a car like this and after a couple of years you start having paint blistering off or dents falling into the paint or anything like that. So the paint work on this car is absolutely amazing still, and it still drives beautifully. It is still very reliable. It starts perfectly every time, and we love driving this car. The only problem with it is that you are seated in the center, and when you're driving from the center and people get next to your car, everyone wants to take pictures, and it is a little bit hard maneuvering or getting about in traffic. Now, some of the things that I'm not happy about, or some of the things that did go wrong in the meantime, is that, for instance, these door catches over here do tend to get a little bit sticky, so I have to oil them every now and again to make sure that these doors open and closes properly. And another thing that I'm having troubles with is the power steering. For some reason the power steering gets clogged up, and I'm having troubles to get the power steering to work reliably all of the time. And the air conditioning is also giving me troubles. For some reason the fan stops working every now and again, but those are just electrical issues, and I think that I should be able to solve that without too much of an hassle. Guys, on the inside I did put this quick release steering wheel in the car, and I must say, in retrospect, I might have made a mistake, because I've had so many people giving me slack about this steering wheel that seems to be loose, but in actual fact it is not loose at all. I actually got a Sparco quick release unit on here, and it works very well, except for the fact that when it is clicked into position, it just seems to want to rattle just a little bit, and I've had so many people giving me trouble about that. And just to give you guys a recap of this car, I put a BMW 12-cylinder motor in here, put 2 turbos on it, and mated it with a 6-speed Audi gearbox to give it the same type of performance as the original car was. Like I said, all carbon fiber. The interior, the cabin unit, everything in here is carbon fiber, and it's all carbon fiber just about here to the back and in the front also. And then this rear boot, or this rear bumper at the back, is fiberglass, and the bonnet in the front is fiberglass, or this part is fiberglass. These fenders are fiberglass. This bonnet is actually, I made it out of aluminium, and I made most of these doors out of aluminium also, because it is a medium that I enjoy working with, and I seem to get good results with that. That is also, I also made that out of aluminium. So guys, one of the other big changes that I would love to do on this car eventually is I want to change out the exhaust system, because when I built it, I had one set of headers going from this side to the left bank exhaust and one set going to the right bank, and I did not connect them. So this is not a resonating exhaust system, and if I was to rebuild this exhaust system, I would most probably get a much nicer V12 note from these exhausts. But it does sound pretty, it really does sound beautiful, but I think I could make it sound better with another set of exhausts. Also, at the moment, I've got a single coil pack per bank, and I'd love to change that so that I could have pencil coils on each spark plug, which would just give me a little bit better performance from this engine. But apart from that, it is sounding beautiful, and it does drive absolutely amazing. This car is so freaking fast. It is the fastest car that I've ever driven or been in by far, and it is a monster of a vehicle. Guys, I'm not going to be driving this car today. I'm not going to take it for a drive, because there are some other videos on the internet about this car, especially one that was made by Cars.coza, and they just did a phenomenal job in making a video of this car driving, and I'm going to link that video in this description so that you guys can, if you want to, go and see how this car drives on the road, because I don't think I'll be able to do a better job than what those guys did. But guys, this is what the car looks like after all these years. Like I said, I'm still very, very in love with it. It is absolutely beautiful. It is a head turner. It is by far the car that I'm the most proud of, that I was able to build this, and I'm so thrilled to show it off to anyone that enjoys cars like this, because this, like I said, is, well, till now, the work of my life that I'm very, very proud of. I did everything in this car myself, and I hope that we'll be able to keep this car and show it off to the world for many, many years to come. And guys, like I said, this is a bit of a different video, just an update video. I've had so many people requesting how the car is doing after all these years, and like I said, I'm always very proud and keen to show it off to whoever wants to see it. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. The next video is probably going to be back in the grind in my workshop, and I really enjoy the fact that you guys watch these videos, and I hope that I'll be able to make this kind of content for many years to come. Anyway guys, I'll see you next time. Cheers!